Good afternoon. Welcome at Media Center Ukraine. We continue to work for you, and right now in our studio we have the briefing of the spokesman of the Ministry of Defense, who is going to tell us about the situation on the front as of now. Thank you. Good afternoon, dear friends. For the information about the Russian military aggression, as of today, 12 p.m., the 11th of April 2022. The enemy continues to regroup the troops for the offensive actions in the eastern operational zone. They are increasing the system of the management and logistical support. Their main intentions is to prepare to defeat the regrouping of the joint forces of Ukraine and to control the Donetsk and Lugansk regions and to provide the stability of the land corridor in the temporary occupied territories and occupied territories of the Autonomic Republic Crimea, and also together with this, the Russian troops are trying to improve the tactical position in the southern Buk region and to settle in the administrative borders of Kherson region. And together with this, the units of the enemy have left the Gostomel region in the Republic of Belarus and also Bryansk and Belgorod regions in the Russian Federation to demonstrate. They do this to demonstrate the military presence and to limit the Ukrainian forces. The Slobodansky direction, the enemy with the 620A, 1TA Western military region continues to block the city of Kharkiv. They continue to drill our defense in the city of Izum, and they are making the reconnaissance of the possible directions of the offensive actions. In the direction of Dolhenk and Mutivka, the enemy with the forces of two battalion tactical groups trying to make the offensive operation, but it is not successful. Donetsk direction, the units of the so-called the 1st and the 2nd divisions and also the 8th and the 58th units are trying to military regions of the Russian Federation continued the mass shelling of the Ukrainian forces in the settlements and to continue the storming along the front line. The main forces were in the settlement Popasna and Rubizha, and also close to Mariupol in the region of the last one. With the support of artillery and aviation, the occupiers continue the storm actions close to Azovstal and the seaport. Also, they continue to drill the defense of our forces in Severodonetsk, Avdiivsky, and Kurachovsky directions, and also in the village Zolota. The occupiers are unsuccessful trying to storm our fortifications. During the last 24 hours in Donetsk and Lugansk region, the defenders of Ukraine have repulsed 4 attacks of the enemy. They have destroyed 5 tanks, 8 APCs, and 6 auto vehicles, and also 8 artillery system of the enemy. Tavrinsky and Pivdonobuzky direction, operational regions. So the enemy continues the military actions, and it keeps it keeps the occupied territories, trying to improve the tactical position of in a separate direction. They are making the engineer equipping of the positions. They are supplying the ammunition, improving the ammunition, and also the logistic support. They are increasing the system of the management and logistic supply of the troops, and also in the settlement Chapayevka, the Polska region. The enemy has the supplement point of the 58,000 army close to Rozivka, the Polska region. They have the collecting point of the damaged vehicles. Also in the region, the enemy continues to have the aviation attacks on the objects of the critical infrastructure. Chernomorsk and Azovska operational zones. The fleet groups of the enemy in the equatorial of the Black and the Azov Seas continue to isolate the region, and they have the reconnaissance, and they continue the artillery support and the logistical support of the troops on in the sea direction. We still have the threat of there is still the threat that the aggressor will use the missiles. And as of today, in the equatories of the Black Sea, there is the ship with the ballistic rockets caliber and frigate Admiral Makarov. The situation in Volynsk-Polska and Severskaya direction, as of yesterday, has not changed. There is a regrouping of and resuming in the territories of Ukraine of the troops of the enemy. After these actions will continue, the units of the Russian Federation are brought to the new regions in Belgorod and Voronezh region, and at the same time, on the territories of Gomel region in the Belarus Republic, and also Bryansk and Kursk regions in the Russian Federation, there are still the separate units of the enemy. The most possible is that they are demonstrating their presence, and they are. With all of these, there is a threat that. There is aviation threat on the objects of the military and civil infrastructure of Ukraine from the territory of Belarus. At the moment, the personal loss are 19,500, 255 tanks, 1923 armored personal vehicles, 347 artillery systems, 111 MLRs, 55 anti-aircraft warehouses system. You are today. I have the question. We hear the statements about Kiev, and you can say that. You were saying that that is their logics to draw attention to the other things, and what are their intentions regarding the troops of the Russian Federation and the Belarus Republic, and is it possible that they are going to start their aggressive military actions in Kiev region? Thank you very much for the question. At the moment. From the territories of Kiev and Chernihiv region, the Russian troops were partially pulled away, and they are brought to the Belarus Republic, and from there to the Russian Federation, and from there to the to the east of Ukraine. As for the possible resume of the offensive actions, it depends on the military actions which would take place in Donetsk and Lugansk regions. As of now, we know about a few battalion tactical groups on the territory of the Belarus Republic, which are providing demonstrating actions. As far as it is obvious that it is the game of the Russian Federation to keep the troops of the armed forces of Ukraine here, and not to send them to the east and to the south of Ukraine. And that is why the situation will show us. Thank you very much. More questions?
From the Guardian newspaper. Last week, there were predictions that the big Russian attack in the east would take place within 3 to 5 days. Has the big attack started? And if it hasn't started, when do you think it will start? Oh,
Could you please repeat the question?
I'm sorry. Okay. So last week there were predictions, kind of prognose, that the big major Russian attack in Donetsk and Lugansk would take place within 3 to 5 days, would begin in 3 to 5 days. Has that happened yet? If it hasn't happened, when do you think it will happen, based on your information?
Дякую, зрозумів.
Thank you very much. Understood. According to our information, the enemy is finishing the phase of resuming of the troops, and we have the forecast that the active military actions will take place there in the nearest future. And at the same time, the Ukrainian army is ready for that. We cannot forecast when it will happen, and the messages from the Western sources, and at the same time, the enemy has almost finished the preparation for the offensive operation. Thank you.
Lorenzo Cremonesi from Corriere della Sera from Italy. Sir, just to understand a little more about this possible next attack on the east. Before or in the original phase, in the first phase of the attack against Kiev, we had an idea, Western sources, your sources were giving us the idea of the dimension of the military preparation the Russians were having. They were talking about 150,000 soldiers, thousands of vehicles. Can you give us an idea how much the Russians are assembling there, are preparing on the east to attack? And would you say that the amount of troops, of strength they are gathering in the east is less or more they did on Kiev 1 month and a half ago? Can you compare the two strengths, the two forces? Thank you.
Дякую.
Thank you. This is a question is the expertise of the experts, the military political experts, and that is why I'm not able to give a comment on this. But I can say that since the active phase of the war which the Russian Federation has against Ukraine, we saw the operative pauses and also the military actions. But with all of this in the east of Ukraine, in Lugansk and Donetsk regions, the active storm actions have never stopped. If we compare the number of troops on the different directions, I'm not going to do that, but recently, Donetsk and Lugansk regions on the front line, the number of the Russian troops will increase. Thank you.
Robert Parsons, France 24 News. Just 3 quick questions. How do you assess the danger of Ukrainian forces in the Donbass region being encircled by Russian troops? That's my first question. Second question, what about the situation in Mariupol? There have been reports that the Ukrainian defenders of the city are running out of ammunition. Does this mean the city is about to fall? And final question, Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister, when he was in Kiev the other day, promised to send anti-ship missiles to Ukraine. Have those started to arrive yet?
Thank you. As of regarding this third question, I'm not able to give the comments on the political and the military cooperation with our allies countries. That is a question to the higher military official bodies. And as regarding the Mariupol, at the moment, the city is holding the defense, and the rest of the information regarding Mariupol, we are checking and we are verifying the information. And regarding the first question, can you please repeat the first question, please? The risks, we have to fork the risk or not. I can say that there is the risk, and I can say that there is no risk. And of course, we have to understand that the Ukrainian army is has defending operation, and we have to consider all the risks and all the factors. That is art, the operational art. And each of the sides make some demonstration actions, and the situation can change dynamically, and that is why it's not worth it to forecast these kind of things. But the thing I can tell you is that we're not going to allow this to happen. Please.
Follow-up. Can you try to tell us at least if the offensive that the Russians are preparing on the east is, you think, stronger? I mean, the amount of soldiers, the amount of preparation is more dangerous than the military preparation they did attacking Kiev. Can you compare the two situations? Do you consider the amount of troops, the concentration of troops in the east, larger than what they did when they tried to attack Kiev?
Dear friends and dear colleagues, you are asking me analytical questions, and I can give the operational information, and I can tell you about the events and the things which already happened. These are the things which are not my expertise. We can we can make some assumptions. The only thing I can say that the offensive action in the east of Ukraine is being prepared, and they are close to their last phase. And the Russian Federation wants to occupy the administrative borders of Lugansk and Donetsk regions. With all of these, they are trying to keep the land corridor and settle in Kherson region. That is the thing which we can see right now. And the further situation will depend on how the Russian Federation, if the Russian Federation will achieve its objectives or not.
Sorry, another question, which is very brief. Commenting the attack on Kramatorsk, do you have the impression that the Russians are trying to stop, to limit, to block, to freeze the escaping of civilians, the movement of civilians out of the affected regions in the east? Are they trying to stop the railway station, to bomb the roads, to stop people, to stop civilians leaving the areas?
Just now you gave the answer to the questions you had. The tactics of the Russian Federation is the tactics of terror. That is attempt to frighten the civilians, to make them panic, to make them feel fear, and to lose their hope. The missile attack on Kramatorsk railway station has proved it again, as well as the other missile attacks on the civilian infrastructure objects, on the dramatic theater in Mariupol, when they were shooting schools and kindergartens. The tactics of the frozen conflicts is the tactics of the Russian Federation. The Russian Federation is trying to create the enclaves of the frozen conflicts on their borders. We can see that in the history of their conflicts during the last decades. But that is a kind of rhetorical question. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Other questions? Thank you very much, Oleksandr. Thank you very much. Stay with us, and we will form our agenda for tomorrow. So please follow us.